So we're now in the second half of the year. It feels like I blinked and January became July. I don't know about you, but I personally started the year with a big list of goals and a good idea of where I thought I would be in just a few months' time. I was pumped and motivated and ready to take on the world, but somewhere between now and probably the third week of January, my goals just slowly started slipping into the background. And if you're sat there thinking, yeah, same here, then this video is for you. And I'm definitely not here to guilt trip you. This is all about resetting and getting yourself back on track. And if you're not where you'd like to be at this point during the year, use this video as a checkpoint because we've got another 5 solid months to make some good progress. So today I'm going to be walking you through a video of me reevaluating my goals and showing you exactly what I plan to do to get them all back on track. And I've got a feeling that our goals will probably overlap a little bit, so we can make some progress together. So let's start with the one which I'm quite embarrassed to talk about, and that is screen time. At the start of the year, I told myself that I would cut back on scrolling and instead I would just focus on using it for communication and creativity. In the past, I've tried various ways to try and decrease my screen time, and occasionally I am successful with it, but I will also be the first to admit that I haven't figured it all out perfectly, or at least I haven't yet. I feel like most of us are glued to our screens way more than what we would like. For me, it's like I just go on my phone to check something, and then 30 minutes later, I'm watching videos of people falling over and some Swedish guy building a cabin with just an axe in his bare hands. I think I've just realized that I've been scrolling way more than what I would like to be, especially at night, and quite frankly, I'm sick of it. So these are some things that I'm going to be doing to get back some control over this stupid little rectangle. The first thing I'm going to do is just basically set up my phone to optimize for less screen time. I'm going to set time limits on certain apps, and I'm also going to try and use grayscale between certain hours. And yes, I know this isn't the perfect solution, but I do think it will keep me aware of what I'm doing. And yeah, I think it could be quite helpful. I've also seen lots of adverts of things that block your social media apps when you tap your phone on it, so I might give that a go. And also things like a minimalist phone layout just to essentially make it a bit more boring. I kind of just realized that I got a new phone and I just left it as it is. I feel like I can set it up to try and work for me a little bit better. The next thing I'm going to do is essentially just charging my phone not in my bedroom. And to be honest, just thinking about it, this could single-handedly be the biggest factor in reducing screen time. So for me, this is going to mean that I'm going to go to bed at night and I'm going to wake up in the morning without a mobile phone, which we should all be doing, obviously. But yeah, and then finally, when I'm really mentally fried, trying to remember that you can actually just delete apps. So if you've been feeling really distracted or just overstimulated, I challenge you to delete your social media apps for just 24 hours, honestly. And I think you'll be really surprised at the amount of mental clarity that suddenly rushes into your mind. Okay, so next up, fitness and diet. This one honestly stings a little bit because this is the part of my life which I rarely let slip. And at the start of the year, I felt pretty strong, I felt pretty good. And then I got busy, and then I got lazy, and then yeah, it all went downhill. 3 or 4 workouts a week suddenly became 1 or 2, and honestly, it's actually really noticeable how it's affected my strength. Every single lift has pretty much taken a hit. However, this is what I've learned from the past. Whenever you do fall off the wagon, you don't need to do anything dramatic or anything crazy. Just get back on and keep it moving. Unfortunately, it's not just the gym that has taken a hit, my diet has as well. And I have to admit, it is just pure laziness and indulging in junk food. And yeah, just bad habits creeping in. So with all this said, I am just going straight back to basics. In terms of fitness, I've made a non-negotiable rule to do 3 workouts per week, absolute minimum. Any more than that is a bonus. In terms of my diet, I'm just basically avoiding buying the junk food in the first place because then I won't be tempted when I'm bored. And then just, yeah, every day make some nutrient-rich meals. A little food hack that I found recently are these little bags of grains. They're really cool. They're so much better than a bag of rice, way better for you. And yeah, when you get them on offer, they're pretty cheap as well. So if you've let things slip in terms of your health and your fitness, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back into the routine, go back to basics. The good thing is the momentum that builds it compounds very quickly. On top of this, honestly, I just think when you move your body, you have a much better day, you have a clearer mind, and you also are in a better mood. And considering we've all got goals that we're trying to chase, I think being in a positive mindset and feeling focused is a pretty good thing, right? So one area that I'm really trying to reignite in the second half of this year is learning. I'm a big believer that we should all be adding new skills to our locker all the time, even if you're just dipping your toes into something new. For me, it just makes you a much more rounded person. So at the start of the year, I told myself that I wanted to learn the basics of piano, get back into learning languages, and also try and make a dent in my reading list. And whilst I did make some progress early on, I ended up falling off, and I'm honestly not even really sure why. I guess I just ended up with the attitude of I'll just do it later. So here's how I'm reframing learning for the second half of 2025, and hopefully this will inspire you to do the same with your creative or intellectual goals that up to this point you've sidelined. So I actually have tried learning a language before, Norwegian, which won't be a shock to people that know me, and I actually loved it. I ended up getting to a B1 grade, which I was actually really proud of, and although I did want to take it further, like most habits, it faded. And what I've definitely learned with languages is that if you just flat out stop using it, you're gonna get very rusty. And learning a language really is repeated recall, so for me, just staring at the word over and over just doesn't cut it. It doesn't stick in my mind. For me, I have to remember it, I have to recall it myself, and ideally say it out loud. So what I'm doing to get back into this is creating some brand new flashcards to help me get the basics again. I've also subscribed to some YouTubers to try and get some content to help me learn. And then on top of this, I've dedicated a new notebook, which is purely for writing in Norwegian. These are all things that I can be doing pretty quickly, and if I want to take it further, I can book some video lessons online. If you're looking to learn a new language, hopefully this has given you a few ideas on how to get started. So I also told myself that I was going to learn piano, but I have to admit it got to a point where just sitting in front of it felt daunting. So I've just decided to make two very easy shifts. Rule number one essentially is just to keep the keyboard out so I can always see it, never tuck it away, never hide it. It's always there and easy to use. And then rule number two, whenever I do play, I'm just going to do some short, easy sections from songs that I actually like. For me, this kind of learning is just a nice way to get you in the door. There's no real pressure. And then if you do enjoy it, you can take it a bit more seriously. Okay, so I've now accumulated quite a lot of books, ones that I'm actually quite excited to read. However, up to this point, they've never been opened, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm determined to at least make a dent in them, or hopefully finish quite a few of them. I think there's just so many good insights and lessons and stories that are just waiting for us to stumble across them. And yeah, for that reason alone, I think reading has to become a thing again. So the way that I'm going to try and do this is essentially reframe how I view reading. Up to this point, I will admit I've kind of just viewed it as a thing that you do before bed, get a few pages in to make you sleepy, and then you call it a night. However, surprisingly, when I get into bed, I don't exactly get excited about a mentally taxing self-help book or the thought of ruminating over all the ways that I should be improving my life. So instead, I'm going to be keeping a couple of books on my desk, and I'm going to allow myself to read during the daytime. I've just realized that they're definitely going to be a benefit to me cognitively, and keeping them basically where I spend all my time should hopefully improve the chance that I actually pick them up. And of course, it's also a way of giving my brain something healthy to consume after being bombarded by short form everything. So if there's something that you're trying to learn, whether that's photography, cooking, a musical instrument, a language, whatever it is, this is your restart point. And whatever it is that you're trying to do, try and reduce the friction between you and that thing. Make sure it's visible, and yeah, have fun with it. Alright, so this is a big one for me, letting go of control and being less risk adverse. At the start of the year, I decided that I really wanted to become more adventurous, not in terms of like skydiving or anything like that, just in everyday life. But somewhere along the line, I started to notice that I was making really safe choices. So I've been working on embracing more discomfort, and this is how I'm tackling it. And it's a big one. Remembering that nobody really cares about you. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. And I'll be totally honest, there are things that I don't do in my life because I'm worried about what people might think about me. You know, this could be the content that I'm posting or not posting, and just how I show up in everyday life. And I often feel like I need to see a quote or remember a specific thing just to be able to get on with the things that I actually want to do. Recently, whenever I'm on the edge of doing something, I've got this one thought that I keep going to, and it is really helping me to take action on things. So whenever you're at a crossroads or you're worried about doing something and the fear of what others might think, imagine yourself 10, 20 or 30 years older, and then basically just do the thing that your older self would give you a fist bump for or high five you for. And I know it probably sounds a bit silly, but I do really like this reframe. It's essentially just zooming out, seeing the big picture, taking the emotion out of it, and doing whatever serves you deep down. So one instance of me doing this myself is booking basically a trip of a lifetime to a country that I've wanted to see ever since I was a little kid. And I won't say where it is just yet, but maybe at the end of this year, you might see me filming from a really cool place. And this was something that I really had to kind of fight myself about. You know, this is something that I could have easily taken the sensible option, save up more money, do it another year, but nah, screw that. And of course, there are times where the sensible option is the better one, but I don't think that is when we're talking about dreams, things that excite you, and things that fill up your soul. So at the start of the year, I did a video all about creating your own vision board for the year ahead, and I'll put mine on the screen for you right now. So maybe things have changed, or maybe you've never made one of these, but I would definitely urge you to create one either way, because it's so important to visually be able to see what you're aiming for. So when I look at mine, I am pleased that I've achieved some of it, but I do think I can take it further, and yeah, it's kind of motivating. So yeah, I definitely recommend that you make one and try and get that motivation flowing. So if you are feeling a bit behind on your goals, don't worry, you're not the only one. However, I do know there's going to be some people out there who have essentially written off their year and they're already waiting for the next one. Don't let that be you. So much can happen in the second half of the year. Now you've assessed where you're at, you know what's working, you know what isn't working, and you know what actually matters to you. Honestly, so much can happen in the next half of the year. It's wide open. Take a moment to write some things down, make a plan, do whatever you need to do to get your head back in the game. Remember, you don't need a new year, you just needed a little reset. Definitely let me know in the comments any goals that you're looking to pick back up. I've shown you mine, so definitely feel free to keep me accountable with those ones. If you're a fan of these types of videos, it would mean the world to me if you considered subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.